Hello there, thank you for joining me at my tying bench once again. In this tutorial I'm going to tie up another muddler middle pattern for you. I've done a few marabou muddlers in other videos, and this is one that I use quite often myself, this color, so I thought you might like to see this guy tied. I use a ginger brown colored marabou, a little brown calftail for the tail, and instead of gray squirrel underneath the wing I use red squirrel underneath the wing, and a copper body. And of course just a natural deer hair collar and head. So I decided to give this one a tie up for you this time around. I hope you enjoy this one. So I'll get this guy out of the vise, new hook in, and I'll get started. The hook I'm using is a 9672, and I'm tying him on a 6 here. Get that locked down in the vise. And I'm using a little heavier thread. I'm using some 3/0 wax monocord Danville thread. Okay, first thing we'll do is start our thread on the hook, and I'll go about 3 hook high lengths behind the eye. Usually when I'm doing a muddler, saves lots of room for to spin your head on, tie your wing materials. And we'll wrap back here. Don't have to worry so much about, I don't worry much about touching wraps on these guys. Snip off that tag end. Now I got some brown calftail here, and I'm just going to pull off a small amount. I don't want too heavy a tail. Put a medium thickness on this guy for the tail. Pull out the short hairs here, and I don't try to stack this here stuff because we all know how hard this stuff stacks. So I'm just going to pull out those short ones, make sure I got what I want, and I'll place that on. Put a hook cap in length, and I'm going to come up with a pinch wrap here, pull up on that, then I'm going to wrap that all down. Just wrap it forward like so. There we go, right up towards the spot where we started our thread here, and I'm going to snip that excess off here. A few fibers there I want to cut. Alrighty, okay, now couple more sticking out there. Alrighty, couple more stray fibers, there we go. Okay, now the next step here, I'm gonna wrap our tinsel body, and I'm using a copper. It's copper on one side, blue on the other, and it's a size 10 copper tinsel, mylar tinsel. And I want to tie the gold side down so it shows when I wrap it. So we'll tie that in here with some snug wraps. And before I wrap that, I'm going to take a little shot of hit cement, go along there, just like so. Smooth that out. There we go. Okay, we'll begin to wrap our body. Okay, and slightly overlapping the wraps. Not too much, but slightly. Okay, we want to get good coverage on the body here, so. And we're going to keep going back, and I'm going to take one more turn back. And then I'm going to come up. Then we're going to start wrapping forward. Nice snug wraps. Same deal. Just like so. Main thing is to keep your wraps nice and snug. Don't want to let off the tension. So make that body nice and tight, durable. Okay, I'll come up around. Now I'm going to tie this guy off. Get that tinsel caught in with a couple of wraps here first. Okay, then I'm going to couple wraps of hit on it. Then I'm going to fold it back. Locking that in place. It doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't pull out. Come in and snip off the excess, like so. There we go. Bind that down with a couple more wraps. Okay, there's our body and our tail. Now for the underwing, I already have a small bunch of red squirrel tail in the stacker. Just even that up. Okay, that's fine. You don't want to overdo it on that either. Don't want it too. I like to keep it sparse, fairly sparse. Okay, now measure that up just about to the end of the tail almost, and then I'm going to snip that. And before I tie it in, I'm going to take a little bit of head cement, put a little drop on those butt ends there. Then I'll place it on top, come in with a pinch wrap, come around and pull straight up on it. Then we'll just wrap back with some medium wraps, keep that laying down flat. Then I'll really cinch it down tight as I come forward. Nice tight wraps. There we go, there's our underwing. Now next for the wing I have some ginger brown colored marabou. And I got one here ready. I don't really like it too thick of a wing, but about medium thickness. So I stripped all the lower ones off here. And I'm just going to wet my fingers and wet that down so it makes it much easier to deal with and tie in when it's wet. Okay, then I'm going to measure it up, the length that I want, and I want it just a hair past the tail, because if you go too long on these, you'll get a lot of fouling sometimes when you're fishing them. So I'm going to come up, pinch through it, wrap, snug down, pull straight up, pinch it. Then I'm going to do a couple medium wraps back, snug it down. Okay, there's our wing. Come in, snip that off. Okay, now the next, got 3 strands of peacock herl here for the topping. Got those ready to tie in here. Just get those ready to go on top. Alrighty, we're going to place these right on the top. Pretty much the same length as the wing. Same deal, I'll come up around the pinch wrap. Pull straight up on that. And I'm going to wrap back. There we go, and just check and make sure they're right on the top of the wing, like so. Snip those. And now I'm going to wrap back on those just a bit. And then forward, nice and tight. Nice tight wraps going forward. Just like so. Then we'll come back to where I want to spin the head. And we'll stop our thread right there. Okay, that looks good right there. Alrighty, so what we got left to do now is spin our deer hair collar and head. So first I'll put a little drop of cement on those thread wraps and let it soak in for some added durability. Get that soaked down in there while I'm getting the deer hair ready. Okay, next I already have some deer hair in here. I would say a couple pencil width. Pencil width is what I have for the amount. So I'll stack that up even. Get that out of the stacker here. Got the tips nice and even for the collar. Pull that out. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's a little long, so I'm just going to shorten it up a bit. Scissors. Okay. Alrighty. Now, as you know, if you see my other videos on muddlers, I always try just to use one bunch of hair when I'm tying them, so that way I get the collar and the head just out of the one bunch of hair. So I want to measure that up so it comes back just about to the hook point or a little more. And I'll place it on top, and then I'll take my fingers and sort of wiggle it around the shank first before I go to spin it. Then I'm going to come up, 1 wrap, 2 wraps, then on the 3rd wrap, pull down, let it spin around. Nice tight wraps, locking that hair in place, and then wrap forward to the eye. Just like so. Now I'm going to check it, make sure it's got even around the shank, looks good there. If you don't think it's even, you can just wiggle it a little bit before we finish it up here. But that looks pretty good, so I'm going to now just take my 2 fingers and I'm going to pull back nice and hard on that hair. Just like so. You're sort of packing it a little, and then I'm going to make 2 more wraps through it. Like so. And once again, pull back. Just making enough room to get a couple turns there so I can start to build a little head on and do a whip finish, like so. There we go, everything's looking pretty good there. Now, just come in with my whip finisher and do a whip finish on this guy. And just need 4 or 5 turns is all you need here. bring that up, snug it in nice and tight, and we'll snip off that excess thread. Okay, before I begin to trim, I always like to put a little drop of glue here as well on the thread wraps. Let that all soak in good there. Okay, and also I like to take the dummy needle and I'm just going to go around here and make sure I didn't trap any hairs. Just going to pick them out if there's any trapped fibers here or there. Before I begin to trim this guy up. Okay, just like so. Alright, now first I'll use my curved scissors to start the head on this guy. So I'm going to come in and just start to trim around the front here. Just turn the fly as I go. Just like so. As you all know, this is the longest part of a muddler, is the trimming part. Not so much tying it. Excuse me. Okay, now. Alrighty, just going to start with these. Just to get a start on them there. Okay. A few more there I want to get out. Alright. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take them out of the vise here. And you probably won't see everything I do here when I'm trimming, but it's just much easier this way. Just to finish doing the trimming out of the vise, I find. Okay, just going to keep trimming around the collar here. I don't like too thick of a collar on my muddlers, and sometimes you see them tie with real huge heads on them and that. I do tie them that way as well, but when I'm fishing them for myself, I prefer the smaller heads on them, but some people like the bigger heads, but I've always tied them with smaller heads. Yeah. Just bear with me, folks. Okay, and like I was saying, this color here, I've been fishing it for quite a few years, this color marabou muddler, and had a lot of luck on it with that ginger brown for the wing. Generally you see marabou muddlers in the whites and blacks, but this color done fairly well for me over the years. So that's why I thought I'd share this one with you. Okay, just a little bit more trimming here and it'll be a done deal. Just takes time is all. Try to keep my videos as short as I can, but okay, just fine tuning the collar a little bit more here. Okay, it's looking pretty good here. So far we're almost to where I want it. So I've got a few more cuts to make and then we'll be done. I probably won't trim it right down to exactly fine tune it as much as I would, but this would take too long, so I'm just gonna make a few more cuts and throw them in the vise here, and I'll show you what he looks like here. I'm just gonna even that head up now. It's the last part. Okay. Pays to take your time, because if you take one wrong cut, you can't put the hair back on, that's for sure. As we all know. Alrighty. This guy is just about there. Okay. I would trim a hair more, but that's good right there. So there he is. Done deal. Another size 6 ginger marabou muddler. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I know how popular the muddlers are, and I love to fish them myself, so I thought you would enjoy this guy. So anyway, that's the done deal. And one last step I always do is I'll put another good coat of head cement on the thread wraps right in front of the head there after I'm done trimming. Let that soak in. Alrighty, there he is. See if I can get a close-up without it getting too blurry or anything on me. Sometimes this camera doesn't cooperate too good. That's good there. So, once again, thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you'd like to see some more tutorials, hit that good old subscribe button. Appreciate that a great deal. And until next time, happy tying everyone. Stay safe. I'll see you again soon. And so long for now, folks.